Welcome to another episode of V4 Veganism. We are here with Dr. Karl Eichenfeldt. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Dr. Karl and I'm just going to call you that.
Okay. Nobody calls me Dr. Karl, but you can call me whatever you want.
We met at a Red Robin song Animal Sanctuary. And you know, it's weird, like at the animal sanctuaries, sometimes not everybody's vegan that goes there. But I saw you guys and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go talk to these guys. And I'm not normally like that.
Same here.
At all. Yeah, but I just felt like, you know, vegan vibes kind of, emanate through the room.
Definitely.
So before we get into what you do on a daily basis, how did you discover veganism?
Well, I started training at Williamsburg Mixed Martial Arts in about 2011, I think. And some of the people there, a couple of the coaches were vegan, and I just overheard them talking about it. I don't think I even was involved in the conversation at all. And it just kind of got the wheels turning, you know, and I thought about it. I didn't even know what veganism was. Talked to my wife about it a little bit. We watched... I think we watched Vegucated was the first documentary that we watched, and it really kind of got us thinking more about it. And then we watched Cowspiracy, and that really kind of turned it for us, you know, and we're like, all right, we need to at least try this for a month. And then it stuck, and now it's been, 5.5, almost 6 years probably. Okay.
That's incredible that nobody really did any outreach to. You just kind of overheard them. What were they talking about when they were talking about veganism?
They were talking about farm animals and how they were treated, and being an animal lover, I was like, wait a minute, this is what happens, at farms. Like I thought it was all this, like pigs running around, cows running around all happy and stuff, but you know how it is.
What got you into the profession of physical therapy?
Well, my undergrad in college was in exercise science, and I injured myself in college, and I had to do physical therapy. Okay. So that really got me interested in it. It was a long time before I actually went to physical therapy school. I worked as a trainer. I worked at a sports physical therapy place as a trainer, as an exercise scientist. Then I decided I wanted to go back to school and get the degree.
What does it mean to be an exercise scientist?
That can mean a few things. You can do personal training, you can work in corporate fitness, you can do exercise testing, people see like what their body composition is, what their VO2 max is, which is like how much oxygen your body actually uses when you're exercising, you're breathing in. The more oxygen your body actually utilizes, the better shape you're in, basically.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And what did you do that got you injured?
I think I was actually working, while I was in college. I had a few different jobs, and I was working with this guy who did like vaults and safes, and we were lifting like these huge 500-pound fireproof filing cabinets up the stairs, and I just kind of hurt my back.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were like, playing football or something.
No. Not that glamorous.
So, we were talking before that like activism kind of takes all forms, and with veganism and the vegan movement, we do kind of need everybody to be an activist, to spread it for many different reasons, for the animals, for the environment, for our own health. And you get a chance to talk to people one-on-one every day. They're entrusting their bodies and sort of their lives to you to make them better. What are some of the things that like people come in with that 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 like veganism could really help them in terms of like injuries or just ailments that they have?
Sure. So physical therapists, I think, are the practitioners that probably spend the most time with their patients. Especially in my setting, we work with one patient one-on-one for an hour, to times a week, maybe for months. We really look at people as a whole, you know, see what their lifestyle looks like. As you know, a lot of animal products can cause like an inflammatory process in the body, so that can contribute to their pain. It may not be causing their pain, but it can exacerbate it. We've had some patients where, you know, we made a link that consuming dairy will increase their pain. You know, and when they stop, their pain decreases significantly, or sometimes even goes away.
So are people, I mean, do people hear you, or do you have people that are resistant, or is it both?
I would say both. I would say that they're pretty open to at least listening to what I have to say. I would say my partner at work, we were kind of like a tag team. We go back and forth. You know, he's got my back, I have his back. Sometimes you just need to hear it said more than one time from a different person. You know?
So is your partner vegan as well?
He's not vegan, 100% vegan. He went, yeah. I think he's on his way there. I would say he's mostly plant-based, and for a year he's been mostly plant-based, and he's probably lost about 25 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, much healthier.
Yeah. So why is it that other doctors are not like recommending a vegan diet or a plant-based diet? Veganism is way bigger than diet, but a plant-based diet just for our health.
You know, I think just like any other person in general, you know, doctors are people too. I think one reason is that it just doesn't fit in their box right now. You know, like and they'd rather maybe prescribe drugs instead of, you know, changing the lifestyle or changing the diet.
Yeah. Where is your practice actually?
It's in the West Village. We work out of Gotham Gym. Okay. It's like a boxing gym. You know.
Have you ever not worked in New York though?
Not as a physical therapist.
Okay.
I moved to New York from Rhode Island in 2001.
So your patients that you're dealing with are generally New Yorkers that tend to be a little more progressive, I guess. Not that they wouldn't push back on veganism, but like.
Sure. Yeah, I would say, you know, especially our clientele, like, you know, in the West Village, I would say they're a little more open-minded.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would be in another place. It might be a little harder, you know, especially when I have conversations with my family about this stuff. You know, they have, you know, they take medications for things that could probably just go away by changing the lifestyle.
Yeah.
I get a lot of pushback.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the results are there, and I think that's really frustrating that you can present someone with, I mean, my mom has, in the past year, has gone vegan, mostly vegan, but definitely 100% plant-based in her diet, and then, you know, slowly changing other things. But she just got her results back, and her cholesterol is way down, and it's down to like normal. I think she could completely go off her blood pressure meds, but I think they like cut them in half, and then they're hoping that in 6 months she's going to be able to go off of them completely.
That's great.
You know, and we see that across the board from people who have high cholesterol, people who have, you know, blood pressure issues, that all that stuff gets better.
Definitely.
You know, and then I don't understand like why nobody wants to listen to that.
That's a good point, and all my patients know, you know, the ones that know I'm vegan, and they pretty much all do, they all know that I'm vegan for the animals, you know, but I was on cholesterol medication myself.
Right, you were saying that.
Before I went vegan, and now I'm good. I don't need to take it anymore.
And you were young when you went on cholesterol meds.
Yeah, I would say I was like young-ish, probably around 34, 35.
To me, that's incredibly young to be on cholesterol meds, to be on any medication. I always imagine people on medication to be like in their 60s, you know, when maybe 60s and above, when your body's like starting to be like, okay, this is the end.
well, we know from studies from going back to the Vietnam War, you know, they did perform autopsies on soldiers that were killed as young as 18, and they know that these processes start that young, you know. Yeah. My father died at the age of 38 of heart disease, so you know, that was another thing that was really kind of in the back of my mind as well. Not what made me go vegan, but at this point, really makes me kind of, you know, push that a little bit more when I'm speaking to my patients.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I find that a lot of people, they find it easy to dismiss what I'm saying because they know I'm vegan for the animals. And so when I try to tell them about the health things and the environmental things, you know, it's kind of like, oh, well, you're just saying that because you want to save cows. And I'm like, well, don't you?
What's wrong with saving cows?
Like, why don't you want to save cows?
Right.
I don't know. Do you ever, like with a patient, do you ever recommend like things for them to watch, or do you just kind of tell them like, you know, you could fix this ailment by like cutting out dairy, or do you like go in and you're like, watch Cowspiracy, watch Earthlings, watch?
I really only kind of delve into the more like veganism stuff, actually, not plant-based, if they're willing to discuss it.
Okay.
You know, it's not really my place in the clinic, I feel, to really, you know, go down that rabbit hole, but I do, you know, if we have some patients that I'm very close with, you know, that kind of like to poke the bear, and I'll poke them right back, so.
Dr. Karl brought us these lovely
sugar,
donuts.
diabetes, but
So
hey, they're vegan, so they're healthy?
This is another question I don't know if you know the answer to. I mean, we know that we can reverse a lot of health things through a plant-based diet, but that doesn't mean that like vegan things are not full of sugar. But you know, we've had this idea that like, oh, tons of sugar is going to give you diabetes, but we also know that meat causes diabetes.
Yeah, animal fats.
Yeah, but does sugar still cause diabetes?
Sugar and processed things are basically not really good for you.
Right.
I would say the three things that I talk about with my patients a lot are processed foods, animal products, and alcohol.
Okay.
So those are probably like the big three most like inflammatory things that you can consume.
Okay.
So, you know, we have patients that, you know, they notice they feel more pain the day after they drink or while they're drinking. Same thing with processed foods. I kind of go by like the 80-90%, you know, healthy unprocessed foods, and then, you know, 10 to 20%, you know.
And then you bring these things that I don't need to be eating. This is missing because I already ate it.
We saved animals.
We did save animals. Well, that's, you know, being vegan does not mean that you are in peak health.
Not
vegan,
at all.
I mean, this is something that I've thought of recently, and I'm sure other people have had this thought though. Like vegan, if you're not vegan for the animals, you're not really vegan. Like vegan is about saving animal lives. If you are eating a whole food plant-based diet, then you're plant-based and that's for your own health. But veganism has to be about the animals. So that's why you can get away with like eating this and still be vegan.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh my gosh. This is terrible. This is my breakfast.
Mine too.
Oh my gosh. Well, here, I'll put this over here. Thank you again, guys. Make sure to subscribe below. Make sure to follow Dr. Karl for all your science exercise. Wait, make sure to follow Dr. Karl for all your exercise science needs, and go see him for some physical therapy. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.